All right. Welcome back. This is part 3 of the Divorce Curious podcast, my interview with the amazing Heather DeSiena. And this one, if you are in the space of trying to date right now, this one is for you. I mean, we are two excellent communicators and we are exhausted by it all. Like, literally, the bar has never been lower. We share some stories in this episode about that are kind of equal parts hilarious and frustrating. And I think you're going to find them really deeply relatable if you're dating in your 30s and 40s right now. It's that there's things like the idea of false abundance mindset that kind of keeps people never really in or willing to work on a relationship. There are like men who just ask 0 questions on dates. I'm really curious if guys find that girls do the same thing. Like, there's just no questions being asked, no spirit of curiosity. And then the idea of sharp edges versus soft energy. And where does that show up in your dating life, especially if you're a woman who's been single for a while or dating for a long time and just kind of worn out by all of it. And then we talked a little bit on the idea of upgrades, right? Everybody's always kind of wanting to maybe just the next right swipe or the next connection is going to be the one. So maybe I won't give as much time, attention, or effort into the person who's sitting in front of me because what if there's an upgrade? So anyways, we get all the way into it in this episode. This one's a long one. If you haven't listened to part 1 around the art of heart level negotiations, go back and listen to part 1. And part 2 was really all about the idea of sometimes no deal, whether it's in business or relationships, is better than finding yourself in a bad deal. So part 1 and 2 are up now. This is part 3. We get a little silly. We kind of do our own impromptu dating game and match. And so, there might be an opportunity for you to slide into Heather's DMs if that's your thing, or, think of some strategies you can use to get people sliding into your DMs if that's your thing. But either way, we have a little bit of fun. We get a little bit silly, but ultimately at the end of it, it's really, I think, something you're going to find funny and heartfelt and hopefully encouraging by the time it's all done. So let's get into it.
Right, wait, let's talk about dating
Oh my
for
God.
a second,
Do we
because
have
I
to?
think you probably have some thoughts on this too. We haven't talked about this,
No.
but I know that one of the really difficult things for me, again, 30s, single again, heading closer and closer and closer toward 40, I'm like, this sucks. Not only the dream not coming to fruition, but dating.
Yeah.
As someone who has been married, has been divorced, has been engaged, just has been through something serious. And at these ages, what's your experience? Because I hate dating.
Yeah. So I don't really, candidly,
I'm-
like, well, I did. I've thrown everything against the wall. Like, I was, 10, 15, I've
See
been
what
divorced
sticks.
for 16 years now. So there's been a lot of technological advances / nightmares that have come out in the
The
last,
dating apps.
like,
Yeah.
we could talk about the technology evolution. We won't. The bottom line is that none of them have been amazing. I will
Same.
say that I think everybody who's been on the dating apps for any amount of time or has been dating, period, no matter how you're like sourcing your potential, is you go through the cycle of resistance and then optimism and then horror and regret
And then lost hope.
you swear
And then
it
you
off,
cycle through it again.
and then you get optimistic again, and then like I feel like there's like a whole
That's a great way to describe it. I feel what you're describing.
there's cycles, right? Like, it feels very cyclical, and again, not to oversimplify it, but I got dating fatigue.
Yep.
Because I am very optimistic. Like, I labor under the opinion that I cannot be the only one who is like health conscious and educated and
If you're
open-hearted.
this amazing
and
person on a dating app, there must be at
I
least
can't just be
one.
me, right? And not to like hype myself up, but you do kind of have to hype yourself up. I
It's
think,
confident, not cocky.
right. And so I think it's bought into the optimism over the year in different cycles. And I'm not, one of my girlfriends and I were just having this conversation, I don't really have bad dates.
Okay.
Like, but
Because you're an excellent communicator. Same.
But we were talking about the reason that we don't
Because you read
historically.
people well, because you can talk for 3 hours even if you're not interested.
I ask questions. Like,
That's what's dangerous for people like us.
right. Nobody asks questions. But then at some point it's like, okay, this is either a coaching session or a forensic interview. Like, or maybe a little bit of both, right? And they're having a great time and I'm enjoying it. And I'm like, it's like the vibe.
It's
Like,
fine.
it's because I did the lift of the entire conversation and
Oh
experience.
my gosh, you're speaking to my soul right
If
now.
I'm going to
This
get
is my
dressed up and leave my
experience
house, like to go out in public and people in hard pants, like I'm going to have a good time. Because I don't want to do that.
Wake up for this,
Right.
okay?
I don't want to leave my house and put on hard pants.
I know,
let
it's so
alone
much effort.
yeah.
And I
And
think
then
that's what's so tiring is,
it,
yeah, and when you are someone who is able to pour into other people, who can read the room, who can ask the questions, who can communicate clearly, that's really attractive.
yeah.
Is.
Yeah.
That's not cocky, that's confident. And so people are drawn to someone like you who is able to make them feel really comfortable and who shows up as a warm presence and
is engaged and curious. I'm like the lack of curiosity that comes there. Why are you here? Like you couldn't think of one thing. Like I know your whole life story when you moved, who your second grade teacher was. Like I know every damn thing about
what do you know about me?
before we
What
get to
about
the
me?
main course.
I know.
You know nothing. There were 0 questions asked. Like it wasn't even like all you have to do is volley it back with, "What about you?"
It's not that hard.
What was
I don't
your
understand.
experience?
People really are awful communicators
Oh,
for a
it's
variety of
wild.
reasons. I do think digital dating has made that worse.
Yeah, but here's the thing about digital dating that is like, which is why I push for FaceTime or in person preferably
good.
because the
Okay.
vibe is different. So I am like, let's get in the same room. Like if there's any genuine reciprocal interest,
We'll
we
feel
vibe it.
chemistry.
I want to vibe it out immediately.
Yeah.
Like if it's Monday, I want to grab coffee Tuesday. Like
So you don't waste
I'm
time?
not going to build a false relationship because here's what happens.
texting.
Anybody's clever on text, right?
Well, and now people are running their texts
Through
AI.
I know. I've dated back in the internet days when it
Oh,
wasn't
who are you
even on
talking
mobile
to?
yet, right? Like we didn't even have apps. It was like web-based, right? Like
Love it. Yeah.
I've seen the full evolution and it's like anybody can be clever, whether they're using, Chat GPT or Claude
When
or
you have
whatever.
a lot of
like
time to sit on it
when you can
and run
sit
it
on
through
it
and
phone a friend or whatever you're doing. Like anybody can be charming and clever in your DMs or when they show up on, an app. And for me, it's like, first of all, how are you in real time? Like, does your
how do
brain
you
click
present
along?
in real life?
How quick does your brain work? Right? Like, wit is important to me. Like, can you string a sentence together and does
Can
it
you
make
keep
sense?
up with the conversation? Can you volley back the questions? Like, just can you keep up?
The sexiest thing for me is witty banter. Like, bring me a little, like,
I love that too.
bring me a little energy. I'll take a zing or two. Like, don't be mean, but like, I'll
A
dish
little
it, I'll take
low-key
it.
sarcasm and like
That's it.
humor that genuinely, oh, if you
Right.
didn't catch that.
Right. But if
That
somebody
was
puts,
hilarious.
I'm fluent in sarcasm, it's like, you're just a jerk who doesn't want accountability because you warned me
Right.
that you're
That's not the
sarcastic.
same thing.
Right. Just because you're mean doesn't mean you're witty. Like, these are two different types of communication.
Truth. I'm laughing so hard because everything you're saying is so familiar. And so I don't think that this has changed much, whether we're talking
no.
a decade ago or now. I think it's just the mediums. the
Well, and I feel
platforms.
bad now. Like my daughter's in college and they'll get like a Snapchat picture of somebody's elbow. Like that's a valid like exchange of some, like to keep a streak going I'm like, what are you like? What? Like, I will say they are getting progressively more analog, which is,
Okay.
and in college, like they're having communal shared experiences, right? So they're
That's a lot
in
of
the
what
same
college
space. They're
is.
having, right. So I love it. She's booed up right now. She's got the
Okay.
sweetest boyfriend. He's a
You
great
like him?
communicator. He treats her like, I tell him he needs to keep, like, she's going to be insufferable if he doesn't like.
You're spoiling her too much.
Yes, which I love as a mom, but also I'm like,
That's
dude,
cute.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cute.
no, and it goes both ways. Like they're
Okay.
very conscientious. They're good communicators. They
Yeah.
have a really good balance of being sweet and having their autonomy, and there's no like weird codependency. I'm only happy when I'm with you bullshit, right?
Sounds
Like
pretty healthy for college
it's
kids.
amazing. Like her relationship is kind of goals. I'm like, where are these? Where
All right, kiddo, we're watching you.
Right, right. Honestly, it's kind of encouraging to see like there is maybe a little bit of that swing back of like
Yeah.
being in the same space, having shared experience. Like I worry as we get more customized and individualized, algorithms, feeds,
Yeah.
like nobody's watching like the collective experience of like watching the same TV show or because there's just so many options and everything's so customized to what a machine thinks you want to see. You
You
don't
don't get
even have
outside
like
of that
those
too
common
much.
points of reference anymore where you can
Yeah.
strike up a conversation with somebody, right? So I have no idea where it goes next. I
Oh
hope it's more
gosh.
analog. I've been on a long-term hiatus. I did have dinner with a guy that slid into my DMs. We talked for like, I knew of him. He knew of me. Like we have mutuals and,
Yeah.
you know, it's a local verifiable clean
You
police
can trust
record,
this.
right?
Yeah.
Like it was a low risk entry. But
Safe.
again, I had to like pick the restaurant and I had to do, and it took us like 3 months to get in the same space. And then
Ugh.
again, it was fine. I know lots about him. He knows what he sees in my Instagram stories, you know?
I just have to say, so as you were talking about the curiosity thing, one of my 2 keynotes, that's it. I have 2 of them. One of them is titled Ask the Question, and I kid you not, one of my stories in that keynote is about a bad date that I went on.
It's a universal
Almost identical
experience.
experience to what you described, and it baffles me too. It's like,
Yeah.
when you're not asking at least a few questions, my interpretation obviously is that you're not into me and that
Right.
you're so emotionally unintelligent that you don't realize how this is coming across, or you truly do not have any interest in who I am. Both are bad.
Well,
Both are
right.
bad. Men, listen up. It is pretty easy. Be kind, be curious, follow up.
I joked. I was having a conversation with another girlfriend, and I said the bar has never been lower. Like we have been
I'm
lulled
sad
by
to say that.
mediocre and low effort. That if somebody came with
Yeah.
even the tiniest smidge of curiosity and good communication skills, like they could wife up almost anybody they wanted to.
I don't understand it either. Here's the thing. I am in no way, shape, or form a man hater
No, same.
at
I love.
all. I
Yeah,
think people think that from my content even sometimes. I talk a lot about the gender wage gap and
yeah.
about
But that's factual. That's not. That's
that's
not
exactly right, Lisa. Like, this is data and this
right.
is a problem. And if you are someone who doesn't see it as a problem, then you probably aren't a man I want to be around.
Right.
But there's no man hating here. I don't,
No.
it's all men are awful. No, but for some reason, it sounds like we both are not meeting the right
Yeah.
men in the right places. And I don't understand. I
No,
actually
and
don't know what
you
is
won't
happening
find a
there.
bigger hype girl than me, like even
I'm
professionally.
like, is it me?
If
Am
I
I
have an
looking in the wrong
interaction,
places? What is happening here? Because my last date was 7 months ago. Okay. I just haven't been interested, which is
yeah,
also tough. I had a girlfriend recently say to me, Heather, you have to start dating. Like, if you still want these things,
I know.
marriage, maybe a child, which you say you
We're
do,
having the same conversations. It sounds like.
you have to date. I'm like, damn it, you're
Right.
right. But I'm so tired and I
Yeah.
just feel like I'm not meeting. It's not even that they're bad people. They're just
Right.
not the right guy, not the right fit, not interesting, not communicative, not chemistry. What's the issue? Like, why is that becoming
Right.
so common? Because even just us,
Yeah.
it's not just me, it's not just you.
No, it's pretty much every woman that I know who is single
Do you
right
have a
now is.
theory?
Here I have a couple of theories. Part of it is that
I
they're
want to hear. Help me date. I want to hear.
well, I don't know if I got a divorce curious podcast.
Blind leading the blind.
You're asking the wrong girl here, but maybe we can crowdsource it in the comments and,
Actually,
I
give
I
us
would love
thought.
that.
So if you are watching this and listening to this and you're like, Heather, this is your problem,
Right.
DM me. Let me know. I am open to
Yeah.
feedback. Or feel free to fluff me up and tell
Or
me.
send us your attractive, available, outstanding men that you know. That would be, I mean, we can turn this into a matchmaker show, Heather. We could do
That's a
whole
little
series on
dangerous,
it.
but you know what?
Listen, if you can
Ladies,
do
keep your
Age of
eyes and ears
Attraction,
open for me, okay?
if you can do shows like Age of Attraction and Love is Blind, and you know the messy Bachelorette that's so messy it had to be pulled off the air. What we have plenty of room to in between those
I
things.
love it.
Yeah, I think a couple of things that I'm seeing, right, is there's I have preached for years since the beginning of dating apps and online dating that there is a false abundance mindset, that
Oh.
why should I put effort into someone who isn't everything I want when I can just keep swiping? Because the next one or the next one or the
That's a
next
good
one or the
point.
next one or the next one, right? And
Is
this was
gonna be even more perfect, is gonna do this
a
thing better, is gonna look a different way, is gonna whatever.
right, so I call it pulling the upgrade, right? Like,
Okay.
people are real overconfident that they can pull an upgrade if anybody shows, and this is men or women. I
was gonna
see my
say, I'm
girlfriends
sure
do it,
I
yeah.
have done that
Yeah,
on these swiping apps.
it's like if it isn't instant magic or somebody doesn't do all the right things, it's like, yeah, I can find somebody better, and then and that's happening even for people that are, like, in relationships, right, or situationships, like, it stays vague
There's better
forever.
out there. Yeah.
They stay vague forever
Yeah.
because in case someone else better comes along, right? Or they
Yeah.
think, and then the other thing I think that I see, there's just kind of a lack of courage,
Yeah.
like a lot of rejection sensitivity and on both sides. So it's
Okay.
if I don't ever approach or I don't ever try, then I can't be rejected.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot when you are out in public or you're in places where you could possibly have a little meet cute or
Sure.
strike up a conversation. I think that there's just such a huge there's a fear of rejection and there's a fear of public humiliation or public rejection because everybody's videoing everything now, right? You never know when somebody's going to be. Yeah, I think there's just
Yeah.
there's a lack of courage, and I'm not saying it's unwarranted. Like, there are reasons where
Where
it
that's
sucks.
legitimate
It sucks
concern.
to be rejected, and I will say though, if the few times I do leave my house in hard pants and something
And
cute,
put on pants. Yeah.
right, right. And I, if somebody approaches me, I usually don't realize. Like, I was sitting at coffee with a
Oh,
friend.
that they're into you.
I have the funniest story. So I was planning an event with one of my girlfriends, and we go to the same coffee shop like every 3 weeks or whatever. We meet and do some work on it. And we were there, and I love her, and we're laughing, and we're like into this story. And this gentleman gets up and he comes over to the table and he's like, at the risk of seeming creepy, right? I just wanted to say hi, blah, 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 blah. And
Wow.
he hands me his card, and I'm like, oh, it's nice to meet you. What do you do? Right. And he's
You're
a
all
realtor or
business.
whatever. Right. I'm like, oh, it's a lead or it's somebody I could do work with, right? Because
I'm filling my pipeline.
I'm in work mode. So of course that's what we're going to talk about. And then he made the comment, and I originally missed it. And he said, I saw you two ladies here, and he said a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
And he's like, and then it got creepy because then he's like, and I've come back every day and sat there hoping I would run into you again.
Whoa.
Which is
It's like, is that flattering or
I'm like,
creepy?
I'm a threat management professional. You can't say things like that to me. Like, immediately I am like, police.
Lisa.
I'm calling you. I'm recording your license plate.
This is uncomfortable.
Right. And but at the time I was like, and he gives me his card and I shove it in the back of my notebook. And then I say, oh, nice to meet you. And then my girlfriend and I get chatting again. And she stops me when he leaves. And
Was
she's
she like, Lisa, he's into you.
She's like, she's like, he didn't give me his card. He was talking to me. And I'm like, no. She's like, what do you do for a living? How are you so dumb? How do you because I'm just
Aren't you this intuitive people reader? Yeah.
I just want to get back to my conversation with my girlfriend and whatever, random stranger, right? And then I started thinking about what he said, and I'm like, oops, right? And then I'm like, of course, the one time I get approached is by somebody
who's something I don't like.
It had been 3 weeks, Heather. 3 weeks since we met at that place the last time. So if he's saying that's
I mean, he was really into you, and depending on how you feel about that, is that sweet? Is that weird? No judgment either way, but
yeah, I
at
went
least
with
at least you get approached. I will say
that's
people
the only time in recent history.
okay. Okay, that's good to know because I've had people in my life, friends, family even, kind of suggest that. Well, you know, can you talk to someone at a coffee shop or, when's the last time a guy talked to you at the produce
Right.
section of Whole
Well, and
Foods?
everybody's got their face in their phones all the time, or they have
My answer
AirPods
is like,
in, or they
that
have
doesn't happen.
yeah,
That doesn't happen for me, and I'm actually not sure. Again, is
yeah.
that the normal experience now, dating in your 30s and I
Well, part
don't
part of it is like we don't so there's a thing that Vanessa Van Edwards, one of my mentors, talks about,
I
and
like her.
it's like signal amplification
Yes!
bias, right? Like we think we're so much more obvious than we're being, but like it takes 17 distinct different cues of attraction or interest before a man will
Oh
recognize that a woman is interested and
my
approach her.
gosh.
I'm like, I don't have time for that.
I
I'm
don't
tired.
either.
I'm not
I think
making eyes
that's
at some dude
actually
across the room 17 times.
I'm
And
also not thinking that way.
right.
And I think that's part of
Yeah.
my personal issue. I follow Vanessa Van Edwards. I think she's great. I love the human behavior perspectives and, little tips and tricks. But if I had to pinpoint like one thing that I suck at when it comes to
Yeah.
dating and certainly organic in
Oh,
public, in the wild, I'm not a signaler.
no.
And it's because I feel awkward. And so even if I see a cute guy, first of all, he usually
Is
has a wedding band
married.
on. So then I'm like,
You're
oh.
in the same rooms I'm in. We have the same problem. I'm like,
So
I
then
am
I'm like, I can't look. Like, I can't even look
I'm
at a
like, I
married
am
man. I don't
surrounded
feel
by
good about that. Yeah.
95% of my audiences historically are dudes and not an eligible one amongst the crew. Like I went to
Yeah.
a conference. I actually went to a conference. I was just attending, but I ran a little research project because I'm a
Oh.
nerd, right? So I'm like, okay, here's my I anticipate it'll be like 97% men, 3% women. Here's kind of the age demographics, I think, based on the content and what I know is going on. And I walk in and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so good at this. Like I
I've got this down.
absolutely nailed it. And I do this too when I go to like I'll go to football games, right? I'll go to NFL games or I'll go to, college games or whatever. And I'm like, if there was ever like a target rich environment
This should be it.
and not a single I don't see anybody that I'm like attracted to. And if I do, they usually have a ring on, and that's a hard
Yeah.
pass for me every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, just I'm like, how am I'm one of 7 women in a sea of 300 men,
How am I
most of
not
whom
meeting
are
someone worth going on a date with? Now, let me throw this out there because I think you and I have this in common. I also have worked in very male dominated fields, every
always.
single one,
Yep.
even broadcast news. It's a world run by primarily men. And so when you grow your career in those fields, I don't know about you, Lisa, but for me, I think that's part of what has happened. My mindset from a work perspective is I know how to walk into the room. I know how to gain the authority I need with men who are probably underestimating me. And so this is my persona. This is who I need to be. And I'm here to do business. And I wonder if maybe those of us who have done so much work in these male dominated fields have almost trained ourselves, even out in the wild, to just, I don't know, turn that part off,
I
maybe.
I call it sharp edges, right? Other people call it like feminine energy or whatever,
Okay.
but to your point, right? Like, and I have a friend visiting, and we work historically with a lot of the same clients, totally different contexts, and
Okay.
she is like the antithesis of my energy.
Interesting.
And she's like, I have such different experiences. And I'm like, because they're like, you're super non-threatening.
Yeah.
You've got like a very it's sharp edges and soft edges, right?
Okay.
We're both great communication professionals. We both do kind of similar approach is completely different.
Okay.
And we were talking in particular about one scenario, and I said, you're not seen immediately as a threat or a rival, right? Or a
Whereas you might be.
Right. Whereas I come off like I challenge, like not because like that's just again to your point, that's the role. Like that's how
That's kind of your job.
right. And she's much
Yeah.
more kind of
Yeah.
introspective and more receiving versus more outward. Like my
Yep.
energy is very kind of outward
Yeah.
focused and hers is very like kind of receiving energy. And so
Yeah.
it's they're both effective,
Yeah.
but that initial perception of how we're going to be, whether that's how we actually communicate or not, I think
Yeah.
that initial kind of thin slice of this is my energy or this is
Yeah.
what this exchange might feel like. I've never been like a girly girl. I've never had soft energy. I always joke, I'm
You're
like, yeah,
wearing some pink right now, though. It looks
right. I'm
great.
like, I legit still have my
Look at the
Pilates clothes
nail.
on,
Oh, we
by the
both
way.
got pink. Okay.
I keep a blazer on the back of a blazer and a cardigan, and I wear my Pilates clothes and jump on a mic on a Sunday. So,
I love
this
it.
is it's just a layer. It's all perception. But I think it's one of those things where I always, I get coached a lot on like, oh, you need to lean more into your feminine energy and
Okay.
your softness. And I'm like, well, that energy, that defaulting to that energy as my natural state of being is like a privilege I haven't had afforded to me a lot in my life. Right. And that's not like a woe is me story. It's just, if I lead with that energy, right, I don't get done. I don't have the influence I need to have to get what I need to get done.
From
And
a professional context, same.
right. And then
Yeah.
B, from a personal side, that energy brings like predatory people or people who think that they can, and so that's just been my personal experience. And other people seem to just have a much more natural inclination. That's never really
Yeah.
been the side I lean to. And to your point, I think that does get read as maybe unapproachable
Okay.
or disinterested. Or sometimes, frankly, like I've had the guy that actually, tagged the sharp edges moniker, which I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fair, right? Like I do like I do have some sharp edges, but it's also, it can feel like a lot of work to navigate a relationship with a
Absolutely.
partner who communicates clearly and has I joke that, boy, it's a lot harder to date since my standards got higher.
High expectations. Here's the thing
It's
I throw out there, though.
it's
I
hard. Yeah.
I don't expect anything
Right.
from a man I'm in a relationship with that I wouldn't expect of myself.
Right.
And so
Well, and
that's
I
my
don't I don't
pushback.
even go that far. I'm like, I don't expect anything out of someone except for what they have told me that
Fair.
that they'll bring, right? So it's like I don't even put like I learned that in my marriage. Like I never it's not about you're not meeting my expectations. Like these are words you told me
This is
out of
what
your
you
mouth
presented
that I should
and
expect.
promised.
Right. You told
Yeah.
me this is what you're bringing and then you didn't bring it. So it's not me having high expectations or high standards. It's
Exactly.
you not honoring your own word. And to me those two you can blame it on me if you want, but like those two things are very different.
That feels a lot like my engagements. You just spoke
Mm.
a lot of some of the underlying dynamic. And yeah, I hate when friends ask, are your standards too high? Are you expecting too much? Are you stuck in a type? It's like, I don't think so. I think I just have, sure, call them high, but very reasonable, healthy, good
Yeah.
expectations.
You know what I find from the friends or the people that ask me things like that are the ones that are really dissatisfied in their own relationships and
Typically,
trying to
they've got some
justify
unhealthy
staying in it.
stuff themselves. I've seen that too.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I remind myself. Again, I really don't want anyone to feel like, we're dogging on anybody or we hate it. Absolutely not. It's just these are important observations. And especially when you're single, and especially when life hasn't gone the way you want it to, and especially when you still have these desires in your heart, you do have to kind of find, I don't know if silver linings is the right term, maybe not. But one thing that I've reminded myself with those types of friends, those types of conversations is okay, looking at their marriage, I wouldn't want that. And I wouldn't want their husband and I wouldn't want their dynamic. So
Right.
they may be saying something that makes me feel insecure or that feels off or whatever, but do they actually have it better than
Well, and most people who question your standards or make it seem like you're doing the most are the people who wish they would have done more.
who maybe have some regret or
Right.
who are maybe exploring divorce,
Divorce
who are
listen to Divorce
maybe,
Curious podcast. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of women who have approached me privately in my personal and professional life who have said, "You are really brave. You are
Yeah.
really brave for breaking off engagements, for being single, for, doing this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't ask to be. I didn't plan
Right.
to
You're like, I
be.
didn't sign up for this assignment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I love that you think that's brave, and I think the reason you think it's brave is because there's probably a little something in you that sees that and is maybe wondering, could something have been different?
Yeah,
And
it was really interesting when I separated from my husband because we had, we were living the suburban cul-de-sac life. We had friends that we all
right.
had kids around the same age, like it was, and the guys would sit around the fire pit and bitch, and the women would go on walks and bitch, right? Like it was like we all knew a whole bunch about the inner workings of each other's
Don't mind me
situation.
and my allergies. I'm
Yeah,
very
no, it is allergy hell right now. It was very interesting how it was one thing when you were all commiserating in your own misery and unhappiness. It was another thing when they saw one person make the change and disturb, like, everybody's complacency got real disturbed when they saw somebody pack up and move.
and they start questioning themselves and their marriages and is yes.
And then everybody gets real twitchy, and all of a sudden, the people who were down to ride and commiserating and seeing the same things you're seeing and whatever, they go away because
Yeah.
they're afraid that the husbands are
And it's
afraid if
gonna
the wife
rub
leaves.
off on
Yes, if the wife leaves, the husbands are afraid that their wives are gonna get the same bright idea and they're gonna be screwed.
You're
And if
so right. This
eh
is fascinating, and I
yeah,
have an example of this. Again, having not even having been married. I'm glad you told me this because this conversation is even affirming for me. Again, we have very different stories. Actually, a lot
lots
of
of components that sound familiar.
yes.
Yeah,
So, this last engagement, really hard ending. I lost a significant friendship out of it, and it wasn't really due to her, it was due to her husband, and they are married, they are struggling, have been for a long time. They're fighting really hard to keep it together, but I hate to say it, it's kinda like, "Why?"
right.
You know? And when 7 weeks before my wedding day, I said, "This is not right. This is not how I should be treated. This is not the marriage I want. We're
Yep.
gonna end up divorced." She was a bridesmaid, like that
Mm,
close.
ugh,
Um, when when I walked away, her husband called it, "You're a heathen. This is unacceptable. This is on Heather." It was his own fear
sure.
of losing his wife,
Yeah,
who was one of my best friends. We talked I know all of their issues, she knows all of mine,
and that's
and
terrifying because
he
he knows you know
knew
everything. Yeah,
he knew, and he knew that when she watched me do that, that it was going to make their already unstable thing probably a little more rocky.
yeah,
And unfortunately, part of their dynamic, it's borderline abusive. It's very controlling and manipulative. And
you
he
hate
was
that for her
able to say, "We're not friends with Heather anymore."
because 'cause you're a
This
threat.
is
You're a
real.
threat.
This
Yeah,
is real stuff that
I
happens.
know, and
This is
it's so
why
hard.
it's so heartbreaking. I don't think none of this is willy-nilly. And so I would encourage anyone who is listening to this and thinking through their own relationship or feeling discouraged about not being married at a certain age or their story, whatever, it really is that important that you try. It's not always, you can't always help it, but that you try to be as intentional as possible in picking your partner
Yes.
and getting into the right marriage in the first place. Because when this stuff ends, it's horrific for
Yeah.
your heart, for your soul, for your mind, for your body. Like, this is not willy nilly. As much as we joke, as much,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's life changing in a really hard way. And some people, like my friend, the people in your suburb, they might never escape that either.
Yeah.
Like, this will change who you are for better or worse. So I don't know.
No, I really
Gotta
appreciate
say
you
that,
sharing that. It's interesting that it had that whether it's a marriage that didn't happen or a marriage that happened and ended, like the
There's
collateral
collateral
damage and
damage
the
no
response
matter
of
what.
everybody getting twitchy around you
Yeah.
or getting protective of their own situation, afraid that your decision is gonna, impact or influence somebody else is
And it adds then to the loneliness and despair.
yeah,
Because when you're the person going through that ending, like we just said, it's horrific. You're
yeah,
going through something so significant. That's when you need the most support. That's when you need people around you. You're already feeling devastated and alone and so uncertain of what's coming. It adds to it
yeah.
when
It
there's
it,
then collateral damage. It's
it
like,
compounds the loss, right?
yes,
It compounds the loss. It
yes.
compounds the grief. It diminishes the support. I mean, these were the people I couldn't walk out my front door without seeing at least two of them, right? So it was one of those things where for me it was like and you think you're going to have way more support than you do. And I don't fault anybody for it. And that's again, I
But
didn't
you
want to do a
don't.
podcast about divorce. Like, divorce curious. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like this stuff is not fun or easy to
I'm
talk
glad that
about.
you are talking about it though, because it also shouldn't be taboo. I
Right.
have felt so much shame around my
Right.
stories. You've been engaged twice.
Right.
You're still not like, what's wrong with you? First of all, I realized that shame is a liar. Second
Always.
of all, I realized people really, there might be a few people thinking that, but most people aren't.
Yeah.
If anything, they're like, that was really brave. I'm not
Yeah.
sure I could have done that. I'm glad you didn't get into the wrong marriage twice. We're way too hard on ourselves in that.
Yeah.
And especially when there's shame wrapped up in it, we're just, yeah, that's a trap.
Oh, 100% it's a trap. And again, that's part I mean, I had like being ostracized from friends and neighbors in my community. I had, religious trauma from my church community. I had my
Same.
family that didn't,
Okay, that's a whole nother
right?
episode,
Like we're going on like a 5-part series at this point, I feel like. But
right?
it was
It's so taboo in some of these circles.
right. Right. And it compounds it. And then so it's like the people you see every day in life, they go away. The people that have been if you practice a religion or a part of a religious community that
That
you throw
community,
baby showers for each other and you throw like you're doing life together
that one's
until
not the
you're not,
same.
right?
Yep.
And so you lose that bucket of people. And then you have your family of origin and your close friends, and then depending on their belief system and what they're comfortable with or
And maybe they
experiencing
don't
in their own
understand
relationship,
your decision.
then you're out too, right? And then you're
Yes.
left like I was left. I had like 3 people, and I'll tell you what was interesting. My ride or die best friend, she's been my bestie since 3rd grade. Like she was on the phone as I'm following the moving truck, right? Like
Oh,
she was there, she's still
good,
there,
good,
like I was lucky to have a couple of close friends that were like no matter what, even when it broke, like we do cabins together for holidays with our husband, like it had an impact, a ripple effect, but I those friends stayed, which was
good,
awesome.
good.
And then I actually like some of the most supportive people that I had during my journey were people who I was not close friends with before. Like
And maybe
they
you
were far
connected on
enough
this new
removed.
journey. Okay.
Yeah, and then and some of those people were just for that season that came out like literally like angels that showed up
Maybe you
that
just needed that
that
at
could
that time.
appreciate and support and give me some perspective and give me some friendship and camaraderie
Yeah.
through those phases where the people I thought would be there. Like I will say, like whether it's a broken engagement or a divorce, like the people you think or like feel like should be there for you are the
Often
people that
aren't.
probably will go MIA
Isn't
on
that
you.
wild?
It was so surprising to me.
Again,
And
I'm glad to hear this because even for me, even us doing this, I also keep asking myself, is this just me? There aren't enough resources. There
right.
isn't enough open conversation about this. Otherwise, I wouldn't still have those questions and feel almost excited to hear that you have some of the same experiences.
Yeah.
It makes you feel so isolated. It adds to not just the loneliness, but the literally alone factor when you are losing actual people and communities. It's just horrible and we don't talk about it.
No, we
Even
just
in it's 2026 and I feel like there's still some shame and taboo
yeah,
and like weirdness around this stuff. That's unfortunate.
yeah. I don't think it ever goes away, and I don't think it matters how long ago it was either, because some of that,
Right.
I mean, I've been divorced for a million years now, and I
And you
still
feel like
get
you're
some of
marked
that.
by it.
I still get some of that energy from people who knew me, like the before life people,
Wow.
and so it's just, it's a weird, and I've come to realize, like, because Lord knows I've spent, you know, a decade and a half thinking about this shit at this
Right.
point.
Right.
It really is more about, I don't have anything to do with it. It is more
Mhm.
about their internal level of comfort or discomfort, or the satisfaction they have or don't have in their relationship,
Yep.
or their fear around what might happen or could happen, or what would my life look like if
Yeah.
I had to be a single mom with a
Yep.
3-year-old, like, I realize now, and I have a lot more compassion, because I was straight up angry, like, I was angry. It felt like I was abandoned and I didn't do anything
I
wrong
get
but
that.
do what was best for me, right? And
I
it
get
was the
that.
best thing for him, and he'll admit it now. He's remarried and has a great wife, and if like, everybody landed where they should have,
Yeah.
but it was one of those things where it's like you took the hit relationally far outside of just the core relationship
For people
change.
to back away from that is really painful
Yeah,
because back to the communication, see, this is also connected. I believe that we communicate as humans for two primary reasons. That's it. And one is connection.
100.
And so that added disconnect when
Yeah,
people
it gets
back away instead of
really
come
quiet.
in is
Yeah.
one of the, again, people are largely the same.
Yeah.
When we sense that people are backing away from us and we're disconnected, that is not how we're wired.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, the justification for increased or decreased communication, because, like, for me, it's like, when when I first made the change, it got real loud because everybody wanted to know, right?
Like what
Everybody
happened?
needed this. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What happened? Right? They're waiting for the big story, like,
Yep.
there, and we didn't have, like, abuse or infidelity, like, it was
Yep.
just
Just
wasn't
wrong.
good, right? It was
Yep.
just, it wasn't healthy, and we agreed we didn't want our daughter to expect that out of her relationships, right? So,
Which was really selfless,
there wasn't any great
you know?
scandal tidbits to
Yeah.
really, like, excite anybody. So first it got real, real noisy, and everybody's nosy, and everybody's, like, pledging support. And then when they
Then it
realize
doesn't
there's no
happen.
story there, and it's just you making healthy decisions, and caring, centering yourself, or centering yourself and your child, then it's like, well, oh, well, gosh, if that could
Back
happen to you
up.
guys with no big problem, then it could happen to us, and we can't. That makes us uncomfortable, and then it's
Discomfort.
crickets. Then it's crickets.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wild. It's one of those things, like, I was doing communication a little bit before that, but after going through that experience, I was like, I have got to understand this,
Yeah.
because it was so hurtful. It was
Yes.
so hurtful to me to lose, like, all my core groups of support over
Yep.
making the right decision.
I that resonates so much, and it also brings to mind our previous conversation about curiosity and just asking questions. I think the discomfort factor. So
Oh,
some
yeah.
people, you're right,
Huge.
intentionally walk away. Some people, I genuinely think, just don't know how to support you, and so they go quiet
Right.
because they feel uncomfortable, they feel
They
awkward,
don't wanna
they
say
don't
the
know what to
wrong
say,
thing.
they don't know
Yeah.
what to do. And so let me encourage you with this. If there's someone in your life who is grieving, because by the way, this is real grief.
Oh, yes,
When
it
you're
is.
going
It's
through this kind
devastating.
of
Yeah.
ending, this kind of hope lost, this kind of dream devastation, it's real grief. If someone around you is going through a divorce, grieving any type of loss, going through something super tumultuous, whatever it is, try to recognize your own discomfort, be aware, right?
Oh,
Regulation,
it's
emotional
very important.
control.
Yeah.
If you can realize, oh, this is my discomfort, not theirs, they still need me. I need to buck up. I need to get over that. Let me encourage you with this. You don't have to ask the right
No.
questions. You don't have to do the right thing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, but for me, and I would guess you as well, when I was in some of those lowest moments, I don't care what we eat for dinner or if we watch a movie
Right.
or if we're going to drink wine or not. I don't care. sometimes just literally need someone on the couch.
Just
That's it.
show up and just acknowledge
Just
that something is
acknowledge
happening.
me.
Yes.
And it was more painful to have no one there sitting with me on the couch than it would have been to have someone who felt a little awkward say to me, "Hey, I don't know how to help you right now, but I'm just going to come over."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have loved that.
It would have been great. Yeah. And I recognize that it's kind of a big ask for people who don't have great communication skills.
But
or
it
don't
doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
That's the good part. It
Right.
doesn't have to be perfect. So get that out of your mind. It might be a little awkward. The person who's grieving doesn't care. They don't
Right.
they just need presence.
Well,
And so your imperfect communication and presence
100%.
is so much better than
Than radio silence, than
nothing
crickets,
at all
than
because you feel uncomfortable.
yeah, and that's really part of, like, the original thesis behind Divorce Curious was I wish, like, there weren't any podcasts actually. Like,
Yeah.
there were a couple scenarios on television shows or whatever, and it was always some big scandalous, like, affair or domestic violence or something, like,
Right.
there wasn't really any.
I don't relate to that.
Yeah, and there wasn't any representation of my story,
Yep.
and there wasn't a place to go to hear other people share or to get support or find out about things like mediation or find out about what do I need to be thinking about
What can I be
financially
doing
or
with
how do
this?
I like
What
how
kind
do
of
I
therapy do I pursue? Like, how do I
Right.
feel? I still don't feel like we have a ton of that, which is why I was so
No, we
pumped when you
don't.
asked me to join this podcast and talk about some of it. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I need more.
Well, I'm gonna keep inviting incredible guests like you. Honestly, this
Do
this
it.
is probably gonna be at least a 2-parter, if not a 3-parter. We'll
I'm
see where
down. I know. I feel like we could talk for 5 more hours.
we could. Let's be so for real. Let's you and I finding things to talk about is never going to be a problem.
Again, there was zero prep for this
No.
conversation. And
Which
look at how this ended up. We were both like, where is this gonna go? Where is this gonna land? I think it was exactly what
it was
needed to
great,
be.
and it even kind of like self-segmented, so editing will be easy, which I love because I'm lazy, so that's perfect. But we're gonna end this one
This
here,
segment.
right? Because we know that there's always a TBD. You have an invitation at any time to come
Thank
back
you.
and join us on Divorce
Thank
Curious.
you.
I know that
I would love to. We'll
we
make
got
it
at
happen.
least another hour and a half in there
I know.
somewhere of meaningful things. But no, I think we've covered so much. I love that we were able to work in the brass tacks communication skills, the regulation and the de-escalation. I think
Yeah.
like that's just whatever your relationship looks like, or even if you're single and navigating new
These are good
relationships,
things to learn, to know, to practice.
always. And then, the evolution, I still think, if you have an eligible bachelor, like throw them in the comments, drop the Insta.
Look, I'm open
like,
to ideas at this point, ladies.
We're going to have
and
all of
gentlemen.
our contact information in the show notes.
Oh my gosh.
We'll just
I'm
put it
almost
out there to
scared.
the
I'm
universe.
almost scared.
And I would love to host like the first meet and greet with Heather and whatever eligible man you might know in your community. I know we all know
Let's
good
do it
guys.
online. You can mediate our first date.
I'm so here for that. We could do a series and then the audience could vote on who they like the best
turn
for the
this into
second
like
date.
A game show.
I'm so here for it.
By the way, I would totally go on Love is Blind or Age. Yeah, I just watched that one too. I would totally do that at this point.
One of the girls, she did her first full story didn't get followed, but my friend Ashley was one of the girls on Age of Attraction.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous.
She's
I kind of
38,
want to do something
never
like
married, no kids, right? So
okay, you might need to introduce me to her because we sound similar.
I do.
And it's hard to find other women who are in this position.
No, she's awesome and gorgeous and amazing and a badass and an entrepreneur and so it's not us, ladies. It's not us. I'm just it can't be.
It can't be all of us.
It can't be. The quality is too high. I'm just saying, but I digress. But okay, so we'll get the dating game show. But in the meantime, drop the @, drop the handles, do some introductions.
I'm ready.
I feel like I would love, boy, that would be such a fun story.
Wouldn't that be? Can you imagine?
Such a fun story.
2 years from now, you're
Our buddy
invited
Dave
to the
would
wedding,
flip out.
and we're like, we met through the Divorce Curious podcast.
I mean, we just reverse engineered the whole process. We started out talking about divorce.
You know what? I'm going to say, and I
am.
am working on more positive mindset. I struggle with that. And your self-confidence tanks when you go through difficult things like this. But much crazier things have happened.
Oh my God.
So
Collectively,
it could happen.
We'll just put it out there. We're gonna throw it out to the audience.
This is possible.
Who's to say? I mean, things are so wacky right now. Who's to say it won't work?
That's what I mean. Weirder things have happened.
Accepting referrals. I'm 100% positive about that.
We'll figure out what your referral fee will be.
We'll add your dating profile to the show notes.
Well, that means I need to start dating again.
Let's get intentional about this, Heather. Come on. We got to do we got to do some of the work. The universe isn't going to just bring the hot Amazon guy.
I'll put it out there. You're right.
Okay. All right. So we'll stay tuned. This is a developing series of some sort, possibly
developing story here. That's
dating game show. I mean, who knows?
Lisa, that could be a blast.
Dude, I'm so serious.
I could see you hosting that.
You have no idea how much I've already pitched this in my brain of a thing that should happen.
I'm in. So keep me in mind as one of your contestants. Yep.
You just scooped. Divorce Curious audience. You got the scoop. It's a new thing. Call TMZ. I hear they're looking for a new bachelorette, but I think we can do better.
Well, after this season's fiasco.
Yeah. We can do better. We can do better. You are obviously superior, so we won't say any more about that. But okay, Heather, where can people find you? Because obviously now they know how incredible you are, both as a eligible bachelorette and also as a professional, speaker, a keynote. Where can they go to connect with you?
So I have a pretty unique name, Heather DeSiena. If you Google that, all the stuff's going to pop up because I don't think anyone else has that name. So that's pretty easy. I've got the website that's more for keynote speaking. So hey, if you liked what you heard today and you have an event, a group that you want to talk through some of this communication work, I'm your gal. For the dating prospect, Instagram is probably best. It's Heather DeSiena. And for the professional, and I am very active on LinkedIn, find me there. I love connecting, by the way. I really do. It's one of my life's joys to connect. So if you want to,
I think we got introduced and we're on a call
I know, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's so fun for me and I'm curious and I want to know about you. So shoot me a DM on LinkedIn, on Instagram, whatever. I will respond. I love hearing what other people hear from conversations like this. So yes, find me wherever makes the most sense for you. I would love to connect.
Send your eligible male friends.
Send your
high quality eligible male friends to the @. They'll be in the show notes.
That's the key. They have to be high quality. They have to be eligible. Okay.
Send them to me first. I'll do a little forensic interview, coursework on them first, and then we'll move the eligible ones onto the next round. But
deal.
This is so fun. Oh my God. Great. Oh my God. Okay. So everything's going to be in show notes and comments wherever you're watching this or listening to this. You're going to get what you need. We'll send you to the right place. But in the meantime, if you are in that I don't even really know what's happening, I'm not sure what I want next, I have made a super easy guide for you. It's the Evaluate Your Marriage, or it can be your relationship. It's a workbook. You can download it at my website, lisamitchell.biz/podcast. You can get all the episodes there because I'm lucky that I know a lot of really amazing, brilliant, talented people, and they all say yes to come on the podcast. So it's my favorite way to get to chat with people I already love and trust and get to share with everybody listening and watching here. So Heather,
so fun.
Banger episode as promised. I love it when we can deliver, and it won't be the last. I'm
already planning our next conversation in my head, so I'll be ready. You better be ready too.
Love it.
Thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. And Divorce Curious friends, I'm going to end it like I always do and just encourage you to stay curious and keep your eye open for eligible bachelors.
Curious. Ask the questions. Ask the questions.
All right, guys, take care until next episode. All right, that's a wrap, Divorce Curious friends. That is the end of part 3 of my amazing conversation with the incredible Heather DeSiena. Part 1 and 2 are also live. Go back and listen to those if you missed it. If you just picked up at part 3 here with all the craziness around dating, you kind of started with the best part, in my opinion. But I could have talked to Heather for another 5 hours, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna see her back. Maybe we'll just give her her whole season, and her and I will just solve all the world's problems. But I hope you've enjoyed this series, and I know you got something really real out of it. I mean, Heather and I both kind of brought it all and laid it bare here for the world to see in this series of podcasts. And whether it's a communication tool or a moment of feeling less alone or just a reminder that you're not the only one navigating this stuff and wondering why it's so damn hard sometimes. I hope you feel a little better supported and maybe got some laughs along the way. So go connect with Heather. Her handles and how to get her are in the show notes. She's as good in your DMs as she is on stage and will actually write you back. So connect with Heather. And if you know any eligible, high quality men who deserve to be in Heather's orbit, drop them in the comments, tag them, connect them via DM, just make it happen. Who knows? I would love to do a follow-up series on an emerging love story that started here, ironically enough, at the Divorce Curious podcast. So as always, I hope you stay curious, my friends. And until next time, be well.